In this video, I will help to provide you with some instructions on how to use a virtual room created in Blackboard Collaborate Ultra to host student office hours. So of course, in an earlier video, I showed you how to create a virtual room in Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. Now imagine that you have this room, it exists, but you need to get students there, so they have to know how to navigate to the room. And then, of course, once in the room, you need to be able to communicate effectively with your students. So we'll go through those two key pieces. How do students know where to go? And then within the room, how can you communicate with them? So let's begin with helping them find out where to go. If you go into your tools area, remember you've already created your Blackboard Collaborate Ultra space. So you're going to click Tools, you're going to hit Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. And here is the session that we created earlier, Virtual Office Hours. If you click on that room, you're going to get some options here. One of the options, and the one that's really important in this case, is what's called the guest link. This link can be given to anyone, students, collaborators, colleagues, guests, anyone that you'd like to meet with in your virtual space. So if you click on that and then right-click, you'll have an option to copy the link. So I'm going to hit copy. And what I'm going to do is create an announcement for students. I'm going to hover over Create Announcements. I'm going to call this Connecting Through Virtual Office Hours. And I'm going to provide them with some information. I won't type everything, but one key piece of information will be the link to access the office hours. So we might say office hours will be held on Thursdays from, let's say, 3 to 5 p.m. You can access my office hours using the following link. If you highlight that link and then click what looks like a little link in your menu at the top, you can paste your link there, and then your link will become active in the announcement. If you hit submit at the bottom, students will be able to see information about your virtual office hours right on their announcements page. Now, alternatively, if students know, they can also access the room through the tools area. So I'm going to turn on the student preview for a minute so you get a sense of what students can see. When I do that, you can see that students still have access to the tools area. If they click there, they can still see Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. Once the page loads, they also see the virtual office hours, which they can click on and then hit Join Session. So either is going to work. You can either get the direct link to them by sending out an announcement, or you can give them instructions to join by going through Tools, Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, clicking on the right room, and then hitting Join Session. Whatever makes the most sense for you and for your students. Now I'm going to exit that student preview mode. And we'll move on to the next step, which is how do you communicate effectively with students in your virtual room? So for you to join your virtual room, again, you're going to go through Tools, you're going to go through Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, you're going to click on your room and hit Join Session. When you do that, your Collaborate session will appear in a new tab. Remember that Collaborate works most effectively in the Chrome or Mozilla Firefox browsers. It does not work well at all in Internet Explorer. So make sure you're using the right browser. When you enter Collaborate for the first time, you are going to be invited to go through a series of short steps, including testing of your microphone and camera. What's most important is your microphone. To engage effectively with Blackboard Collaborate, particularly in leading any kind of session or office hours, you want to be using a laptop or desktop computer, and you definitely want to have a microphone, either one that's built in or one that's external. You can also use a webcam, but again, it's not absolutely necessary. So when you enter into your office hours, what you're going to do is open the Collaborate panel. So that is the panel on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And that's going to create some different options for you. The second little icon, which is multiple heads and shoulders there, is your attendees icon. So that'll give you a sense of who's joined into your room. So if you click there, right now you can see that there's only one individual, it's only me. But as students join or others join, they will appear in this window. So you'll get a sense of who has come to connect with you. You can also upload content by clicking on the next little icon in the bottom right hand side, which is the square with an arrow. If you hover over it, it'll say share content. So if you click on share content, you have the option to share a few different ways. You can share an application or screen, which is literally sharing what is happening in real time on your computer. So you could share, for example, an Excel file and be typing into that file, and your student can see what happens. You can also share files. This is the easiest way to share things like PowerPoint slides. So if you click Share Files, imagine that you had a particular lesson that you knew students were interested in going over or you wanted to review with them. You would then click Add Files, and it would essentially browse your computer. So you could choose any file that you wanted, click Open, and it will begin to upload. Just a quick note about PowerPoint files in Collaborate. Collaborate treats PowerPoint slides as images. So it in effect takes a picture of the PowerPoint slide and renders it into Collaborate, which means that any animations that you have embedded within your slides will not work. So slides in Collaborate, it's best to make them really simple and to avoid any kind of animations. Once that's uploaded, you'll be able to access your slides and share them with students. So we'll just wait a couple of seconds as the conversion takes place. So there they are. You can see that they're highlighted in black, which is what you want, and you hit Share Now. So if you click on the top slide, you'll see that up on the major screen is the first slide of your presentation. And you can navigate the slides by clicking the arrows just underneath the slide deck. Okay. So again, there are other ways that you might be able to share content with students. I'm going to hit the little stop button in the top corner, which is going to stop sharing my slides. You can see though that my slide deck remains. So even if you held office hours for 2 or 3 weeks in a row and saved your slides each time, those slides would still be there. So you could refer back and forth across the weeks, which is really handy. If we go away from share files and back into other ways to share content, one of the other things you may want to do is share an application or screen. Again, this is a great way for you to show in real time changes that you might be making to different documents. You can share your entire screen with students, or you can share a specific application that you might have running. So you could share, for example, a particular file or a particular item. So I don't have much open right now, which is why you can't see too much. But you can see that if I choose a particular window, which is just a file folder on my computer, and hit share, that file folder will actually show up in the central window of the Collaborate screen. And if I click X on my computer, it will disappear. So again, that's a great way you can, in real time, edit and showcase Word files, Excel files. You can take students to a website and they can watch that along with you or navigate that along with you. So there's a lot you can do in terms of sharing application and screen. Of course, a key piece is that you're going to want to be able to talk to your students. So there's a couple of ways that that can happen. Most important is the microphone button at the bottom of your screen. If you click that, it should appear green and white, and the white piece should move up and down as you speak to give you an indication that your audio is working well. Students will also see that as they enter into the room. So as they come in, you might want to let them know that they can hit their microphone button and test to see whether their audio works. If students don't have access to a microphone, they can also use the chat function. So again, over in this panel to the right, there's a little thought bubble. If you click there, students or yourself can type in that area and then post it for everyone to see. That's a great alternative for students who don't have a microphone. They can enter their questions there, and you can navigate those questions with them. You can also share your video if you'd like. That's clicking the camera button at the bottom center of your screen, just next to the microphone, and you can indicate share video. When that happens, a small video will appear in the bottom of your screen. But as you're talking, for anyone who is a participant of your session, your face will appear in quite large on their screen. So again, it's a nice way to connect with them personally. That said, it does occupy bandwidth, and so if you're having connection issues, just make sure that you turn off your camera. All right. If you have multiple students in the space, you can also invite them to use the raise hand feature. So if you're worried about people asking questions at the same time or talking over each other, you can just invite them to use the raise their hand button. When they raise their hand, a notification will appear in the top of the screen where I'm indicating with my cursor, and it will tell you who associated with a name, whose hand is raised, and in what order. And so that can help you to navigate multiple questions at the same time. Hopefully this gives you a sense of how you can engage with students using Blackboard Collaborate. Yeah, it's a fairly simple and engaging tool, and it does work quite well to be able to connect with your students virtually.